Yo, what's going on, guys? Incarnate HD, or Incarnate, or Doom Incarnate here, bringing you guys a triple KEM strike on Strike Zone using the Remington R5 with extended mag and silencer. Not going to talk too much about the gameplay, just going to introduce the player here, who is Doom Crimson, the newest player at this time, which is Wednesday. So if you guys enjoy this guy's content, which obviously you do, he's probably one of the best players right now. I mean, looking at some of the stuff that this guy does, I mean, Doom has been getting some really insane guys, and the gameplays that we're pumping out are, you know, we're setting the standards, which is what we try and do over here at Doom Clan. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Make sure to go check out Crimson as well as you can check me out. So I'm not going to touch on the gameplay because I know people don't really care as much. People are always commenting that they don't really care anymore. So I have a pretty interesting topic today that was brought to my attention by my friend Chris, or Doom Fat Zeus. You guys know him here. He does a lot of commentaries. Really good guy. Really is comparing the Moab, the nuke, the nuclear, and the chem strike with each other in the order of difficulty, and you know how fun they were to get and how difficult they were to get, obviously. So I'm actually going to be comparing these four when the game was in their prime, because obviously getting a Moab now is easier than it was when MW3 first originally came out, because all the tryhards have moved on to the more recent games. So you're going to have some of the worst players that are playing MW3. You got some pretty big dyers on that game, to be honest, right now, just because all the tryhards went to Ghost and everyone's trying to play MW3, all these bad players. So if you haven't tried it yet, go over to MW3. It's really fun, or any of the older CODs. Older CODs are fun in my opinion, but let's get right into it. So, MW2, the nuke. I mean, personally, I wasn't that good at this game, so I really can't speak from my personal standpoint. But from what I've seen from people, the nuke doesn't seem like it's the easiest thing, believe it or not. Now, you may say, just due to the fact that kill streaks stack, and, you know, you could get them with kill streaks, they weren't gun kills. It seems much easier. I mean, on paper, it seems like the nuke is much easier. But from a first-hand experience, I feel like the Moab is much easier. Now, just in a sense that, I mean, you see more solo triple Moabs than you do solo triple nukes. Now, I think that's just because more people are playing MW3 than they are at MW2. But just thinking about how easy the nuke sounds on paper, you know, people haven't really uploaded solo quad nukes like ever. I don't really think I've seen one of those. But if it's so easy, why hasn't it happened? I mean, I know I might sound pretty ignorant there, but I just don't understand why the nuke, you know, the nuke on paper, as I said before, seems like it's the easiest. Like, the kill streaks, you know, the chopper gunner goes hard, the AC-130 goes hard. Once you get your Harriers, the nuke is basically 7 kills. But, I mean, the guns kill so fast in that game, it just doesn't seem like it's easier than a Moab, to be honest. And that's what I'm going to get into next. Now, a Moab, in my opinion, is the second easiest. This is for me. This is completely opinionated, so leave your thoughts in the comments below on what you think is the easiest. But the Moab, for me, was the easiest, mainly because I'm pretty good at MW3, not to toot my own horn for the lack of a better phrase there. But MW3, the Moab was fun to get, too. Like, once you got a Moab, you're like, yeah, I got a Moab. And, I mean, you could go for more. I'm not saying you can go for more nukes, but also, you could call in a Moab, and the game wouldn't end. It would kill the enemy team, clear them out, try and get them back to their spawns. It was helpful. It had a use. It EMP'd the other team, and it gave your team double XP. And you could actually see the map, unlike in Ghost. I mean, that was a really good thing. It made the map kind of hazy and looked like it was kind of a nuclear wasteland. But, you know, you could still see it. It was still playable. So, the Moab for me was a lot of fun to get, and it was pretty easy just because of how overpowered Specialist was in MW3. You were a walking tank, effectively. You were a one-man army. You could just run around and slay people left and right. It was so hard for you to die. You had marksmen. You could see people from miles away. You were running at the speed of lightning. It was insane. You reloaded like it was nothing. I mean, it was just not easy, but it was easier than the nuke was. I mean, on paper, it might seem harder because it's 24 kills with your gun rather than 24 kills with your kill streak, or 25. So it might seem easier, the Moab. I mean, people got Assault Moab, Support Moabs, but obviously the most common strike package to use was Specialist. So, the Moab is easier than the nuke, so I'm going to put that at probably the #1 spot for me. And going on to the next game is the Nuclear in Black Ops 2. This, in my opinion, may actually, you know, I correct myself back there. This, in my opinion, is the easiest. Now, you might say Incarnate, it's not easier because you can't use Hardline for it, because it's always 30 kills. And there's no Specialist. Yes, there's no Specialist, but think about something that Treyarch games have had recently that Infinity Ward games haven't had. That's effectively wall hacks, the VSAT. Now, think about how easy getting 30 gun kills is in any game mode if you're playing with 2 people. Effectively, if you get VSATs rolling, you should get a Nuclear every game. If you just play smart, it's so easy to get one with a VSAT up. If you have your VSAT up, everything's going to be great, everything's going to be fine. You know exactly where the enemies are, exactly where they're coming from. You might not be more powerful than them like you are with Specialist, but you know exactly where they are, and Reconnaissance is the best tool of them all. If you know exactly where your enemies are, they have no chance, and even in a party of 2, once you get a VSAT, he gets a VSAT, and it just keeps going. Obviously, we've all seen that. Black Ops 2, you could dominate and stuff like that. 2-man parties, all running non-lethals, that stuff was insane. Triple nuclears, you know, 1, 2 quad nuclears, I don't know how many there are now, but yeah, there might not have been as many, but that's just due to the fact that it is more kills. So if you think about it, a triple Moab is, without hardline, is actually 15 kills less than a triple nuclear, which that's half of a nuclear, so a triple Moab is like much easier. I don't know if I explained that well. In my opinion, the nuclear might be easier than the Moab. I feel like it is. Yes, it's more kills. Yes, there's no specialist. But just for the pure fact that there's orbital VSAT. An orbital VSAT outdoes specialist. It outdoes ballistic vest. It outdoes the even 6 kills less you need. So, you know, I feel like the nuclear is much more easy. But, you know, Black Ops 2, you couldn't rush as hard, so they'd be slower. So, getting into Ghost, this one's probably going to be the longest. Now, from my personal experience, I'm not that good at Ghosts either. Black Ops 2 and MW3, those were games that I can actually call myself good at, and a pretty good player at that. You know, not to say that I'm the best Call of Duty player out there, because I am a commentator, but, you know, Ghost, to me, a chem strike is really hard. Now, I know a lot of the people out here might be saying, oh, chems are really easy, they have, you know, 20-something doubles, and, I mean, it still feels like the chem strike is harder to get, just for the fact that Specialist is not as powerful in my opinion, because if you think about it, in MW3 you got all the perks, but you might say, oh, in Ghost, you know, there's so many more perks. Think about how weird it would be if you got all the perks, but the perks do more for you in MW3 basically. There's no marksman in this game. A lot of people use Deadeye, but I don't really feel like it does that much. And the guns kill so quickly. I mean, it just doesn't really make you feel that different, basically. I mean, you could put on, like, Amplify and Dead Silence, and you could sound whore people, but I just don't feel like it's as easy as getting one was in the older games. And also, you die so quickly, so you can't really turn on people in Ghost. I mean, unless, you know, some act of God where you pull host. I mean, basically, you need a good connection to do well, and I'm not here to rant by any means. That's one of my main things I try not to do, is to rant. But we all know it's an online game. Obviously, connection is going to play a part in who does the best, because that's just how it works. You know, in online games, whoever has better connection will have an advantage if you're on the same skill level. Let's say, you know, 2 people are exactly the same player, one has better internet, he's going to win. Just for that sheer fact. So, since Call of Duty Ghost is such a connection-dependent game, you really need to rely on your internet, your gun skill, and your decision-making, which, that's a lot of things you need to rely on to get, like, one chem strike, and I just feel like it's so much harder to do well in Ghosts than it is to do in all the other Call of Duties. That's just me, personally. I want you guys to leave in the comments below what you think is the easiest one to get, and what you think is the most fun one to get. So, here are mine. At the easiest to get, I'm going to have to put the nuclear, then the Moab, then the nuke, then the chem strike. Then for the most fun to get, I'm going to have to put the Moab, the chem strike, the nuke, and then the nuclear. So it just goes to show the easiest to get isn't that fun to get, because the nuclear was just a medal. You couldn't call it in and the enemy would go, oh, he's nuclear, you know. That wouldn't happen. They wouldn't really know. A medal would just pop up on your screen, and you'd say to your friends, oh, I got a nuclear, and that'd be the end of it. I mean, you couldn't call it in, and that was it. You know, it wasn't really, it was very anticlimactic getting a nuclear. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this commentary. This was actually an extremely long commentary for me. I know it might sound kind of arrogant and kind of stupid throughout this, you know, but this is all my opinion. I really do want you guys to leave in the comments below. What do you think is the most fun, and what do you think is the hardest to get? My name is Incarnate, or Incarnate HD. Hopefully you enjoy this insane chem strike by Crimson. Go check him out, as well as you can go check me out. Comment banana in the comments below if you watch through the whole thing. Final score 104-7. My name is Incarnate HD, and I'm out. Peace.